Today, we will dive into the stakes that are at stake in the main event of UFC 305, in which Dricus du Plessis will attempt to defend his middleweight championship against Israel Adesanya. But also, the question must be asked about Israel Adesanya. Where's the intensity, bro? This is it. Where's the intensity? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy Matt, and we are here to discuss the main event of UFC 305, which goes down this Saturday night in Perth, Australia. And I just wanted to dive into this real quick. Please check out my UFC 305 preview, my fight picks, and you would see if you check that out. In the main event, I am rolling with Dricus du Plessis to go out there and to beat Israel Adesanya, right? But as this fight looms closer, it's just got me wondering, like, what's going on with the fight? What's going on, more importantly, with Israel Adesanya, right? So let's dive into that. So as we get closer to it, let's start with the UFC. I feel like the UFC has done just barely have done a good job with hyping up this fight. You know, this fight, as I check my notes, it's not as big as it could be, of course. You know, I mean, it's a huge fight. This is a huge grudge match. You know, these two met up in the center of the octagon. Israel drunk, Dricus du Plessis right after winning a fight. You know, Izzy's throwing N-words at Dricus. I mean, it was getting crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's already intensity in this fight. There's already bad blood between these two men. But I don't feel like the UFC has put the marketing dollars or their best foot forward and hyping up this fight. You know, they did one little press conference in Australia about 3 weeks ago or so, but still, bro, you would think they would put a little bit more in it. Now, I know they've had a busy schedule, you know, UFC 300, you know, 303 was another big card for them. A lot of crazy stuff going on. But, dude, what is the UFC doing? Now, let's dive into Dricus du Plessis real quick. I feel like Dricus has done a fairly good job with trying to hype up the fight, right? He's working with like a dead Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya that's not really putting forth that verbal venom that he normally has on the mic and on social media, right? You know, shout out to the MMA guru. He just had an interview with Dricus du Plessis. Outstanding interview. Dricus is willing to take shots at Izzy. He's willing to take shots. But I want to see something reciprocated from Israel Adesanya, right? Like when I'm looking at Israel Adesanya, I'm looking at it and, you know, I've been watching combat sports for a long time. Boxing, you know, mixed martial arts, UFC, you know, Bellator, Pride, you know, Elite XC, you know, going back to Strike Force, all of that, right? But, bro, when it comes down to it, one thing that ignites fight fans is bad blood. You know, it's a real grudge. When you know two guys truly hate each other, right? It's beyond the title. It's beyond the championships, the money, the millions of dollars, the women, the fanfare. Fight fans really love, you know, even beyond a legacy fight, they love bad blood. You know what I'm saying? They love when two guys truly dislike each other, truly hate each other, and want to go in there and want to end each other. Fight fans love that because in our real life, you know, in my real career, this is not really my job, but in my actual career, there's mofos I don't like in my job either. That I want to do these folk bad as well. But you can't. You don't get the chance. In real life, we don't get the chance to do that. But professional fighters, people in combat sports, they get that opportunity and they get paid handsomely most of the time. UFC antitrust lawsuit, but they get paid handsomely to go in there and debt somebody. You know what I'm talking about? Go in there and lay these down on somebody. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what ignites combat sports. That's what we all want to see. That's what Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor was, right? That bad blood. That's what you wanted to see. Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. That's what you wanted to see. John Jones versus DC, Daniel Cormier. That's what you wanted to see, you know what I'm saying? You wanted to see that bad blood. You wanted to see it settled. Let's go back to Chuck Liddell. Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. What about that? You know what I'm talking about? What about Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock? What about that? You know what I'm talking about? Bro, it's going back. You wanted to see, let's get historic. You know what I'm saying? Let's get historic. Let's talk about Roberto Duran in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And Sugar Ray. You know what I'm talking about? Let's dive into it. Let's talk about Roberto Duran real quick. Going in there with Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I'm talking about? The first fight. Where's that point to prove something? When this man was stepping out there, Leonard didn't know what was going on in the build-up to that fight. Roberto Duran's talking to him in a press conference, insulting his wife. Talking about maybe after the fight, I'll show your wife what a real man looks like. Leonard had no idea that was coming. He didn't know how to deal with that. He wasn't able to cope with that. Where is that at? Where is I'm going to go in there, in this ring, we talking about boxing, and I'm going to take what I deserve. I'm going to take what I have earned. Let's move over to the UFC. Let's talk about Dricus and Izzy. Where is the vitriol from Izzy? I've lost my middleweight championship to somebody that the world said that I should beat, being Sean Strickland. And then you go and you beat Sean Strickland and take what was mine. Not what I've earned, which was Roberto Duran. What was mine, which is Israel Adesanya. This is the fight, Izzy. This is the guy that challenged where you're from. Challenged you being a real African and said he was the real African that was going to bring the belt home to Africa. He's the one that pissed off Kamaru Usman. Both of Izzy and Usman claim that he pissed off Francis Ngannou, even though we've never seen any proof of that. And I kind of feel like they're like, oh, my big brother's pissed too. Bro, this is the fight. You're going in there with the guy. This is it. This Saturday, it's going down in Perth, Australia. This guy stands between you and middleweight legacy. Because what if you go out there and you get waxed by Dricus? What if you go out there and you get embarrassed by Dricus after you got embarrassed by Sean Strickland? You know, I've always felt like Anderson Silva was the middleweight GOAT. Greatest middleweight of all time. But I always put Israel Adesanya at number 2. What are we going to do now, though? If he done lost to Sean Strickland, if he done lost to Dricus, if he done already lost to Pereira, you know, once in the octagon, a couple times in kickboxing. But bro, where is the intensity? You know, he seems to kind of take a few shots at Dricus, you know, but he's golfing. You know what I'm talking about? The man that was once touted as one of the coolest fighters in the UFC, he golfing now. You know what I'm talking about? Where is the intensity? You know, you coming out there with a dog collar on a few press conferences ago, a few fights ago, talking about, oh, this Saturday night, I'm going to let the dog off the leash. Where is that at? We want to see the intensity. You know what I'm saying? We want to see you go in the octagon. Get locked in there with the man that challenged you. Challenge your real manhood as far as I'm the real African is what this dude is saying. He challenged you, bro. He said you're a New Zealander. You know, you're not really even African. That's what he's challenging you about. He said that he resides there. He trained there. He came up there and he brought the belt back to there. Well, you got to fight with that dude. You can go on your little podcast with your brother and make fun of him and call him a colonizer and apartheid and all of these things. But now you about to be locked in the octagon with him. I want to see the intensity. I want to see you go out there and go out there and draw the line in the sand and say, bro, that is my middleweight championship. And I'm going to go in there. Number one, I'm going to take my belt back because it belongs to me. Number two, I'm going to secure my legacy at middleweight. Number three, I'm going to show you who the real African is. Number four, I'm going to beat you for Usman. And number five, I'm going to beat you for myself. I'm going to show you what it really is. I'm going to colonize you, Dricus du Plessis. The real question is, how come Matt, on Matter of Fact MMA, can channel that intensity? And as we sit right now, it's Tuesday night of fight week, and we haven't seen it from Israel Adesanya yet. Is this y'all's middleweight GOAT? Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know who's your pick on Saturday, Dricus or Israel Adesanya. Let me know what you think. And I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.